I wasn't so sure that we could recreate that iconic Katz's Deli corned beef flavor into a jerky, but once this dries out, and if we did it right, this may be one of the most flavorful batches of jerky we've ever made. Katz's Deli is like one of my favorite places to eat in this entire universe. And I've always wanted to try to replicate that corned beef into a jerky. So when I saw this guy's recommendation of making corned beef jerky out of a can, I kind of took the two ideas and mashed them together. I know Katz doesn't use corned beef from a can, and I know I'm gonna get flamed for this because it's almost sacrilegious. So let me have it, I can take it, but we're merging these two ideas, and the goal is to get all that briny, peppery, seasoned corned beef flavor into a portable jerky form. It doesn't need a plate, it doesn't need a fork, and if it works, this might be one of the best jerkies we've ever made. But we'll throw in a twist or two to make this version just a little bit different. You might not see this one coming, so stick around. I have never had canned corned beef ever. I know I'm probably dating myself here by saying I don't know what the F this thing does. Corned beef to me is like the classic Katz's Deli style, where they take a whole brisket of beef, they brine it for days and days and days, and then it gets smoked low and slow until the meat's all done. This here, I don't even know what this stuff is. So basically, this is just pre-cut minced beef. So it might include all sorts of different beef trimmings and fat and gelatin and salt, which isn't all inherently bad, by the way. So the corn comes from all the curing and seasonings before it's cooked. Just like the Katz version, you just crack it open, however the skeleton key works, and eat it. All right, so let's figure out how to open this. Punch small hole in can top to release vacuum. Attach key, handle down to the tab, and twist the key clockwise completely around the can. So this kind of makes a lot of sense. If you have a can of this and you're out in the wild, you don't have any tools, everything you need right here will open up this can so you can start eating this beautiful culinary piece of work. All right, let's try that again. Stab, key, unlock. Okay, so now that we got this out of the can, just like the Spam jerky, you can see how much this is lacking structure. So we're gonna put these on a rack right now and get it into the freezer. Firm it up a little bit before we start slicing it. All right, it's been a little over 2 hours and this stuff is officially bricked up. So I'm gonna get the meat slicer in here. Let's start slicing this up, get to work. Is that the right usage of bricked up, by the way? All right, so I got our Burkle slicer here. We're gonna keep it at the same setting we used on the Spam jerky, which is just under the 1 on the Burkle knob. That's what we're gonna roll with here, so let's get this sliced up and see how this cuts. This does pretty crumbly. I mean, it's cold, but this has even less structure than the Spam, if that's possible. I'm worried it's gonna be hard to peel off of the trays when they're done without completely crumbling. So let's crank the thickness up just a little bit. So a little bit of editing magic, everything's cleaned up, we got everything sliced. Once we put it up to that thicker setting, we got a small little plate full of it here. So don't know how many trays we're gonna get out of this, but let's get to racking and let's see where this goes. I don't wanna do anything to these. I wanna see what this corned beef out of the can is like jerkified without any seasoning or anything on it. This will help me establish a benchmark for how good this stuff is and what kind of potential there is. So that's literally all there is to this first tray. We're gonna go ahead and throw this right in the dehydrator. But this second tray, I wanna make a few changes to it and see if we can kick it up a notch and get it a little closer to what Katz might make. So while that corned beef was in the freezer waiting to get bricked up, I concocted a mixture of seasonings by mixing a little bit of ground coriander, black pepper, granulated garlic, mustard, and some smoked paprika. I think I can get us a little bit of a mix. It gets us a little closer to what a corned beef sandwich might taste like. So I ground all that up and I got us this little sifter just full of that flavorful goodness. So this is what I want to put on the second rack of this corned beef. So we'll rack it up exactly how we did the first one. But once it's all racked up, I'm just gonna sprinkle this all over the top. I'm gonna go ahead and rub this in a little bit just to make sure it sticks. I don't want any of this falling off. I'm gonna take this other tray and then flip it over. Now I wanna just make sure the other side gets the same amount of seasoning love that the first one did. All right, with it all rubbed in, throw this right in the dehydrator. Okay, now on this third tray, we're gonna do yet another variation. So we're still gonna apply the additional seasoning to give it that extra flavoring. But before we do that, I'm gonna brush on a little bit of brown mustard, act as a little bit of binder. Okay, as if I'm not gonna get roasted enough in the comments about trying to make a Katz's jerky with canned corned beef. but we're gonna be using Grey Poupon. Now I know the mustard at Katz is way better than just your standard off-the-shelf Grey Poupon, but this is what I got, guys. But let's brush this Grey Poupon on. You guys let me know in the comments, have you been to Katz? Have you had the pastrami sandwich? And if you're one of those that are gonna come at me and tell me how my taste is so poor for going to the tourist trap of Katz, hit me with it. Let me know where I need to go next time I'm there. I'm glad to try another place that smokes their own pastrami in-house. With the first layer of this, mustard it up. We're gonna go ahead and sprinkle our seasoning mix right on there. All right, and just like the other ones, we're gonna do a tray, smash, and flip, and then give it the same treatment on the other side. All right, third and final tray going in. So I'm gonna set this at 158 degrees for 7.5 hours, and I'm just gonna keep an eye on it on the back end there just to make sure it's not going too long. Don't forget, all these settings are down in the description, so if you plan on making this, that's where you'll find everything. Or even better, share this with yourself. Or if you know anybody who loves jerky and would love to make this, send this to them. Sharing this video to ourselves and your friends would mean the world to us. But stick around, because as soon as this stuff's done, let's try this out and see if we nailed it or failed it. Okay, it ended up being at just over 9 hours to dry all these out. We have the naked canned corned beef just out of the can sliced. Then we do the exact same thing, but we made our corned beef coriander little mixture. And then the third version is that mustard with that coriander seasoning on top. So we got 3 different versions here. How'd you explain the way that smells?
Not good.
Well, what's that smell like to you?
Cardboard.
It's almost fishy. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I'm trying not to say cat food. Fishy cardboard, maybe? Maybe a fishy cardboard?
Meow. I'll let you go first.
Very gritty.
It really doesn't taste that bad to me. It's almost like a cracker.
Yeah, that texture is just really odd. It's just throwing me off.
Yeah, that's the most off-putting part, I feel like, is the texture.
All right, let's go to that second version.
Ooh, looking forward to this.
Oh, night and day.
It's way more edible.
I'm not going to say this tastes like Katz corned beef.
I was expecting it to be saltier.
Honestly, I'm not mad at this.
All right, Katz Deli, here we come.
You guys ready for this one?
Oh, yeah. This is the one I'm most excited for.
I wish I would have sprayed it with Pam. It was really hard to get these off without breaking them.
To be honest, the best one out of the bunch, there's no doubt. That mustard just adds so much to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it changes it quite a bit.
Oh, it is night and day.
I had high expectations for it too, because I love mustard.
Yeah, no joke. That mustard adds layers to
That's
this.
crazy.
Yeah, I would try this same rub and seasoning on like a beef jerky.
If you guys got any ideas for flavors we should make next time, leave them down in the comments. We're always making jerky flavors from people in our comments.
Looking for good ideas.
All right, so this wasn't quite Katz Deli. Honestly, I kind of expected that. It gives me a lot of ideas for some new flavors. I'm looking forward to seeing yours. And with that, I'll see you next time in our test kitchen. Yeah, that's got a good flavor, right?
Yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.